Hi, Ciscandra.
Hello.
I wasn't sure what sort of accent to expect from you, but it sounds to me like you've maybe grown up in the UK.
No, I haven't actually. I primarily grew up in Los Angeles and in Tehran, Iran.
Oh, right. Geez, you really, you've got Persian, German, Jamaican, English, or you've been raised by an English Jamaican man.
Yeah, he pretty much raised me. I was very close with him.
Yeah, you've got Irish and Russian influences and French, and you also grew up partly in Iran, so you're pretty much a world traveller. It does say on your Facebook page that home is where the heart is, and I guess that you really feel that.
Very much so. It's deeply embedded in me. I love traveling, and I'm a nomad in my mind and in my body, so it's definitely my truth.
Well, your genre says electronic, experimental, avant-garde, punk, gypsy punk, apocalyptic gypsy punk. I get the feeling you're a bit of a gypsy, definitely.
Well, I suppose so, yes.
Well, listening to your music, it sounds like it's kind of almost like Bjork and Kate Bush mixed in there quite a bit, the influences.
Well, we have heard that a lot, and I respect both of those artists very much. I didn't know who either of them were before I started writing music, and then when I met my bandmate, he introduced me to Bjork, and I thought she was wonderful. And then later on, we got comparisons to Kate Bush, so I went and listened to her music, and obviously these are pretty very kind comparisons. So yeah, interesting comparisons. Not something I listen to every day, to be honest.
So you developed this style before you'd even heard of these ladies?
Yes.
And how long have you been actually out there working professionally in the band and that?
Well, I just started writing music about 3.5 years ago, and then I found my bandmate in 8 months into starting to write music. So I guess, professionally, that's kind of I'm not really sure. I don't really know what a professional musician is versus just a musician. I guess it was professional for me from the start because it was all I lived for. And if that's all you live for, then I guess you're pretty pro.
So were you doing any solo work live before you got your bandmate?
I started 3.5 years ago. I started writing music on my own. And I would do little open mic nights around town, and I was, writing things on my own. But I didn't really, heavily pursue it until I found my bandmate. I knew that was what I wanted to do, was find a bandmate and really expand on the sound.
Did you find the style changed at all when you did introduce your bandmate?
I found that it was expanded upon. I think that we both intuitively completely understand the vision of the band. So it wasn't like shocking, like, oh, this is, going in a completely different direction. It just felt like it was going in direction that it had been headed towards from the start. So I don't feel like it was jarring in any way. It was just a mutual understanding.
And the band's name is Nostalghia, and it's spelt Nostalghia.
That's my last name.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting last name. I thought I was going to ask if it was like, nostalgia in another language with the H in it or something like that, but that's actually your last name. That's really cool.
A lot of people compare it to the film. There's a film out called Nostalgia that I still have yet to see, so a lot of people think that we are just very inspired by the film, but it's just my last name. And when we were trying to think of band names, my bandmate was just like, we got to go with your last name because that captures this music. And I initially didn't really want to do that, but I suppose I came around to it with time.
Yeah. And you're about to, you are coming to Australia, of course, for the Soundwave Festival. Is this going to be your first visit to Australia?
Yeah, it's going to be my first visit. I'm really excited.
Yeah, because you're doing some shows in Mexico before that too.
Right, with 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh, they're with 30 Seconds to Mars, are they? That's really cool.
Yeah, we're opening for them.
Who else have you supported of note?
System of a Down, Gogo Bordello, The Orb. We played alongside Grimes and Imagine Dragons and Pink Blondie, on Corona Capital. So quite a few people.
Yeah, I guess like your sound is really completely different to anything else that is out there at the moment. So I guess that helps you to sort of get noticed by people.
I suppose so, yeah. It's kind of interesting because we can also kind of morph into different, we can play with different bands because we have so many different elements to our music. We can play alongside heavier bands, and we can also play alongside, a more mellow sound, which is nice.
Well, it's nice to be able to find something different because I know, like, there is a large element these days that likes the cardboard cutout pop music and R&B stuff and that. But if you don't, then finding something different is always like finding a piece of gold or something. It's like, wow.
Definitely, and I think people are really hungry for it right now because, like, there is a lot of music out there right now that's just cardboard cutout, but I just feel it in my bones and in my veins that's kind of shifting. People are really starting to want something that isn't just status quo and by the book. They want to feel something. And I just noticed it in kind of the trends of new bands, is the bands that are really kind of getting noticed are doing something that's more jarring than, what you hear on the radio.
Yeah. What do you see for the future of the band? Do you want to be like really well known and have people like saying, yeah, I supported Nostalgia, or do you want to just be a gypsy and travel the world and do your thing?
I think it's a strange thing to say, I want to be really well known. I don't think that that's ever been something that I've said to myself or I've said out loud, because the truth is that I do this because I have to. But I do believe that when someone is made to do something, their energy is so loud that it ends up attracting the right audience. And I think that we are, Lady Gaga? No. We're not pure pop, but do I think that there are a lot of people out there that want something different and are ready for something different and transportive? Yes, I do. And it's extremely healing for me to perform. And I know that that's what I have to do on a large scale. And I have other things that it's not just to get beneath a light and start sparkling. It's to get beneath a light and start speaking on things that I find important and that I see other people are finding important, but people aren't really speaking on. So I do want this will grow as it should be, as it should grow. But I don't just want it to grow so that I can be, famous or something. I have things that I have to do and need to do. And so, I suppose the universe will respond in that way.
So you're quite prepared to just go on the journey wherever it may lead?
I'm definitely prepared, and I don't, there's certain things that there are, of course, certain goals, and there's certain things that I put my eye on and certain things I focus on, so it's not just all throwing it up in the air and I wonder what happens. I have a very strong vision, but yes, I'm ready. I guess that's what I would say. I'm ready for it all.
Yeah, and what is the name of the album? Is that Nostalgia?
The name of the new album is Chrysalis.
Chrysalis,
yeah.
Right. It's funny, I was just thinking you did mention, the issues that you find important, and a lot more people are these days. It's definitely a growing movement of messages in music, but I get the feeling there's a very mystical involvement in your music as well.
Sure. Music and art to me is magic, and I think that we often lose our own magic as we grow older. We forget our, the childlike vitality and the beauty of life. And so, when I put all my thoughts and my feelings into music, I want to see it as a portrait that's beautiful. I put all my ugly feelings, onto a canvas in order to paint it and see it in a more beautiful light. So I think that ends up coming across as mystical and majestic. It's like finding myself again, finding my child again, and living in that instead of drowning myself in negativity and depression. And I put all of that, onto a canvas so that I can live in that world instead of being so grounded and living in a world that can almost be demonic at times.
Yeah, oh, it sounds really cool, and people should definitely go and check out your sound because it is very different. And you will be coming to Soundwave and travelling around Australia doing those shows, so people can check you out there. You've got a single out at the moment called You Plus I.
Yeah, you and I. Mm-hmm.
I should tell people that they can find you on Facebook at facebook.com/Nostalgia's Corridor. So I guess if people enter the corridor, they're in for a definite experience with the music and the sound that they find.
Yes.
You do have links there to purchase the album and single.
The EP is out in Australia, so that can be purchased on iTunes, and the EP is titled I'd Still Kill You. And the full album will be out on April 1st.
Oh, so you're releasing the album here after you do the Soundwave?
Yes.
Are you doing any side shows?
I believe so, but they haven't been announced yet, but we will be doing side shows.
Right, so people should go to Nostalgia's Corridor on Facebook and like it and keep up with where the side shows are happening as well as the Soundwave. And you do have a website, nostalgiamusic.com.
It's spelled with an H. Sometimes people forget that. Nostalghia.
Yep, and you've got links to all of your social media there as well as your music, and you've got poetry here too.
Yes.
I do look forward to checking you out at Soundwave because you are so different, and I'm sure from what I've seen of the live videos and that I've seen on YouTube, it does look like a very atmospheric experience.
Awesome. Wonderful.
And I hope you have a wonderful time down in Australia for your first visit.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
Great. And yeah, it was great talking to you. Thank you very much.
You too. Bye.
Bye.